Alright then, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting into Complexity going up against Sippintea for the finals of the ESL 1 Cologne Open Qualifiers North American Edition number 2, of course. Unfortunately, Complexity not having had that much success recently, what with even despite the addition of Slemmy into their in-game leader category, they weren't able to get out of the qualifiers for DreamHack Austin. And unfortunately, they might have their road stop right now over here. Against them is, of course, Sippintea, which seems to be a bit of a stack coming out against them. They don't really have too many matches played, only 2 so far, both of which having been the semi-finals and the quarterfinals, respectively, of the very same tournament. So, Complexity should be doing well and should be favored to win this one, but this is, of course, the open qualifiers. You can never be sure about anything. It always is anyone's game, a bit of a coin flip, especially on a map like Train, which Complexity historically hasn't really performed all too well on. It's no Mirage where they haven't really won even a single time, but I have to say Train not really one of their best ones either. They're starting off on the T side, not really what they want to, but you know, going for the very standard. Oh, never mind, Tropical starting things up. Pardon me, just a second. Going for the very standard 2 utility setup. Have thrown it out, going for an execute on towards the A side. Already Sippintea haven't taken advantage of 2 men. J Chance walking in towards the Complexity player. Slemmy goes down, and it's a 2 versus 4. Surreal down to 3 HP as well. He's not feeling too content with this, and not at all now that he gets headshot down. Android left in a 1v3. He's the star of Complexity. Will he be able to get them out of this? Doesn't look like it. But takes his head off with one last USP shot. And Sippintea, they take the pistol round win in a very convincing fashion. Complexity losing those players earlier on. Not really being able to play around the smoke. One man going down in hell. Probably not the best for them. And now the question is, Complexity, what are they looking to do with this buy right now? Android not having gone for the armor. They are going for the... Well, they're going for the force buyout. Nothing too surprising considering they weren't really able to get that plant down. Surreal pushing through towards that drop down area, but decides against it. Tonk is the only man towards B side. He does have Laffy close behind him, but Laffy is more inclined towards a rotate over towards A. Does look like Complexity want to hit that, what with 2 players being positioned over to IVC, but and J Chance will be ready to intercept though. Slemmy is just holding the angle with the deagle, hoping that someone walks into his crosshair. Won't be given that opportunity. Reveals his position with a stray shot. Def gets a shot though. He's got the scout. And but crouch peeking him in. Not really the best way to start things off. Complexity with a man advantage. 1 minute left on the clock. They can go for the rotate as well. J Chance has his position revealed. Android going for a few shots. Chances the peak. Will not be able to get it. And he cops a bullet in return. Not any significant amounts of damage being dealt though. J Chance goes for the peak, and without armor, that's going to be his any day of the week. Laffy finds 1, Slemmy goes down, and Topical, he's going to be able to find 2 over towards drop down, tries to spray them down, unsuccessful in doing so, and Laffy jumping through with the UMP will finally take down Def. Desi and Surreal once again at only 5 HP. Desi almost goes down, gets 1, but will be able to, well, I was about to say will be able to trade it away. He will be traded though. And Complexity, they get a few kills here and there, but nothing too significant. Quite a few UMP kills going the way of Shonk as well. His money's getting very, very solid. And this is the problem with the force buys that don't really go right. If you're not able to at least shut down a few guns, that's where suddenly the AWPs come out, suddenly the M4s come out early on into play. But again, this could work in their favor as well. They've got a single flashbang. If they're able to get a few guns down, if they're able to prevent that AWP from going into the next round by some miracle using only P250s, then that in itself would be very problematic for the CT side. Now the T's are going over towards B side. They've got a single flashbang. It's ready to go through. Slemmy just wants the bomb to be planted down, and it will be Topical to try and stop this push. He gets flashed out. He sees them dropping down, gets through the spray down. No, never mind. He can't spray down a single person. Needs to pull out that P250. Will not be successful though. Shonk can't quite interrupt the bomb plant, and Def, last man standing, finds a shot for himself. If he's able to save that gun, that would be absolutely massive. They get the bomb plant. Def, he gets a Farmers as well. And Complexity off the back of that, they might even be able to afford an AWP. But they choose not to. Train, of course, is a map where the AWP can shine from the T side, but really comes down towards more of the experience of the player. would be nothing surprising to see players just go for the 5 AKs as well. Even some of the best trained teams in the world do occasionally do that on the T side. Prioritizing the close range, execute heavy battles. But oh, look at this. But trying to go for the spray down through the smoke. Desi though, he's going to be perfectly safe. His Tropical is going to be the man to take first contact. Android going over towards E-box while Desi's made his way into hell. But needs to be careful. He's got to hold that angle, got to hold it effectively. But Android should be the first man to find him. But goes for the peak, will not be successful. Android takes him down. Def has found another over towards the other side of the map. And Slemmy has already escorted the bomb over. Very, very chancy spray, but Jay goes down. Def, once again holding the angle, will not be able to get the shot though. Laffy, his AWP is coming into play, but unfortunately doesn't look like Complexity will have this round stolen away from them. 3-1, Sippintea loses out on a single round, but this is where the reset potential comes into play. But unfortunately his money's not looking too great. He's had to rebuy one too many times. And now the question has to be, Complexity, they've got their full utility. Do they hit that A side with a proper execute, try and bypass that AWP that still is existing on Laffy, or do they just go towards the B side where only one player is? Shonk has to be the linchpin of this side, has to be the man who's able to really keep them in this until Laffy can make his way over with that AWP. But Shonk, of course, will be making first contact. He's gone flashed, and unfortunately will end up going down. Desi with the perfect team coordination coming through punishes that aggression, and Chonk just going forward a bit too quickly. Not really respecting Complexity properly, perhaps. The Molotov should have been enough for him to back off, but decides against it, decides to stick around for a bit longer. And he pays the price for it. And now Complexity, they're doing what every single terrorist side in the world does, except for ISIS, I suppose. They've got the man advantage, and now they're just waiting for the CTs to overextend. They're waiting for the CTs to go for an information gathering play. And it doesn't look like the CTs want to be giving that over towards them. Laffy, again, he's taken Chonk's place in being the linchpin over towards his B side. And he needs to hit a few very crucial shots. Slemmy needs to go down over here. Misses the shot. Shocking. Absolutely shocking. Nothing that you would expect to see from a player like him at all. Going for the secondary one, sees him. This time he's not going to miss. Going forward, the bomb is being planted. Android gets that down and will need to go for the wide peak on towards the AWP that is holding the angle. The flashbang coming out. Laffy still holding that angle. They know that the shot's going out, so that's why Android goes for the peak. Will be punished. Tropical gets that shot. J-Chance pushing forward. Almost gets a two-man. But it will be Laffy left alone in a 1v1 as he takes down Desi. Surreal is coming from the back lines though. Does Laffy know this? He's going for the defuse. He's sticking it. He does not have the kit. He knows he needs to be quick with this, but Surreal, he's even quicker. 3-2. Complexity should be able to equalize the scoreline. And the problem that Sippintea are facing right now is again that both times Complexity has been able to win these rounds is through that early on man advantage, is by giving them a bit too much leeway and allowing them to be able to get a pick off, perhaps not respecting what J-Chance through the smoke onto Desi brings him down. And speaking about getting an early man advantage, I don't think that should be enough for them to win the round, but that's still massive if they're able to get away with that gun. But that's why they're going on towards the A side. They want to prevent that gun from coming through. Tropical though with that P250 could find a headshot, could find another man. Android gone down to 62, turns it around. Laffy goes down as well. Def chiming in. Shonk was able to get one as well, but the damage is not insignificant. Two players going down for zero investment coming up from Sippintea. You have to wonder what it would have been like if they had a little bit more utility, a few flashbangs perhaps. Three to 3. And Surreal, now he's got the AWP, well he had it before as well, but now he will be having the chance to properly showcase it against the full buy coming through. A bit of a questionable smoke coming out. J-Chance reveals his position as a result of it, but is able to get the kills anyway. The secondary spray down not really working out for him too well. The AUG infamously bad with its spray, especially when you're not scoped in. The smoke going Ori though almost cost him. Almost. 3 to 3 and C, but oh dear lord. This is looking sketchy, I have to say. I'm not saying they're cheating, but the way they're doing it, it's looking sketchy. I'm sure it's just luck. But it has to be very frustrating for Complexity. Well, if you hit shots like that, then I'm sure the tilt will go away very soon. Surreal gets another one onto J-Chance. Tropical on green train, waiting for Surreal to push through. They know what Surreal with the ridiculous flick onto Laffy. And he backs himself off. He's going to be able to get away with it. Scot-free, 3-3. He's equalized the man power. Def sees one. That should never happen. Shonk with a questionable spray, not able to connect onto Def, and he's able to turn it around. Def reveals his position, but Tropical will be able to turn it onto Surreal instead. Pushing through the smoke, should be able to find him. Tropical, the last man left standing, has been able to do so much so far, but that's where he will be forced to stop. Def with 8 HP finishes off the round, and Complexity get the advantage. Oh no, I'm not saying they're cheating. I'm absolutely not saying they're cheating. And Complexity, I like what they're doing. They lost the AWP on Surreal last round. They're not trying to rebuy it, recognizing the fact that they will probably be an eco against them. Def instead pulls out the MAC-10. Surreal start opening things up regardless of not having the AWP. Doesn't look like it seems to matter to him whatsoever. Finds a second as well. It's headshots all around. Def with the MAC-10 is hoping to get some kills. He will be able to in the back of Train. But Surreal, he's got the angle. He sees him and will be able to finish it off with 3 kills for him. As I was saying, I do quite like the MAC-10 buy coming through over there, but unfortunately he doesn't get the chance to be able to properly utilize it, to be able to properly farm up the money. Five to 3, and the double op setup comes through. Sippintea, they're getting desperate, and this really is going to be make or break for them. If they lose this round, then Complexity should be able to make it to 7 very easily, and that's a score you're generally happy with. And never mind Seabud going for the long range battle, not quite able to get it, but that's a score you're normally happy with on the T side of Train. And what with the way things are going right now, Complexity could make it even more in their favor. Surreal still with the AK, no AWP just quite yet. Perhaps he's waiting for a drop from the enemy team. Seabud needs to be a little bit more effective over on Ivy. Can't afford to give up his life, because that will really be the nail in the coffin for Sippintea. Surreal manages to back himself off. The smoke going out. 1 minute left on the clock. Complexity perhaps should be looking to gain some map control around this time. Daisy wouldn't be surprised if he pushes out. Tropical, the flashbang and gain. I like the usage of utility coming out from the CTs. I have to say, they're using it at good times to J-Chan, so if he hit that shot, I would have been very, very happy. And now on towards the A side they go. 30 seconds left on the clock. Tropical could shut this down right now, though. He's seen one over towards E-Box. Sees another. There's 3 there. He needs to be massive, but he's being burnt alive. He's being forced to back off. Desi sees one. Brings him down. J-Chance, what are you doing? You're missing that shot at point blank range. On a on a target not even in motion. The AWP misses that shot. Laffy, he won't be doing the same. He connects. Demonstrating again why he is the primary operand, not the other way around. Def on top of Train. Will he be able to get that shot? Shonk sees his head though. Should be able to take him down. No, Def, what are you doing? No, he backs himself off successfully. This can't be. Slemmy. He will be able to prevent them from pursuing any further. And Sippintea, I have to say, their aim is looking so lackluster right now. And I can't even criticize the way they're stationing themselves around the map. Really, right now, it's coming down purely towards aim. Even Slemmy chiming in towards the end. Shonk, if I'm not wrong, he did go down before the... Well, he did go down before the round ended. Not that it matters, of course, they're the CT side. And now 6-3, the first pause comes out. Sippintea, they've lost 6 rounds in a row. And they're at loss for words. They're not quite sure what they want to do. They need to reset, rethink this, and perhaps go a little bit more aggressively is all I can really suggest at this point, because they're losing out the aim battles as they're holding the angles. Perhaps if they get a little bit more aggressive, especially in this eco round, if they are able to pull up a few P250s, get some flashes through, luck out with a few headshots, that is really what allows you be able to get back into this game. Perhaps a miraculous eco round would definitely be setting them on the right track for this. It does seem like that seems to be what they're thinking of as well, with a few Kevlars even being purchased up just to add to the possibility of being able to avoid that aim punch. Even a smoke coming through on JChance. I'm not quite sure what I think about that. I do quite like the addition of utility, but I would have preferred to see a few flashes perhaps. Rather than a 5.7, maybe you have a P250 and 2 flashes. Can be incredibly effective, especially against the AWP that Surreal now wields. 6-3, and Def is already on the side. He's found one, able to back off as well, courtesy of that smoke thrown by JChance. He's going to be kicking himself for that. And now Def again pushing through. Tropical with the P250, scouts one over towards E-Box. Def again trying to find that shot, will not be able to do so. It's going to be Slemmy to finish him off with a Kobe. Strong, dear, this is difficult to look at, and definitely difficult to look at for Surreal, who will have his head removed. See, but makes them work for it. They are able to get 2 kills. Again, not horrible, but considering that they did put some investment into that, I'm not quite sure if I'm too much of a fan. I do believe, I still stick to my point. A few flashes over there, and you could have gotten a little bit more. Perhaps even saved a gun into the next round. Very unlikely, but could have definitely gotten a few more kills. And this is what happens when you're not able to do that. The money just looks ridiculous for them. You already have 2 players over 5 digits. And the rest very comfortably around that 6,000 mark. And now the execute coming out towards that A site. There is an AWP, but it will be severely limited, with Laffy being forced to back all the way off towards connector. JChance got a little bit aggressive over towards drop down, but unfortunately doesn't have anything to make of it. Laffy connects with a shot, backs himself off, but one man has already made his way over. That's Desi. He's through the smoke. He scouts it out. Laffy once again missing the point blank shot. What is happening over here? What is happening? Absolutely ridiculous. JChance and Tropical, they are looking to save this round. Well, can't really blame them. Terrace with perfect post-plant positioning. Maybe they can get a few exit kills, but beyond that, there really is nothing else that they can possibly even go for. Drive, that is a very interesting icon that you have behind your name. What is that? On the bright side, I have to say, on the bright side, they do have enough money to be able to afford out one more buy with a few UMPs here and there as well. But they're not actually going for the UMPs. They're instead prioritizing rifles with very little utility. Not sure what I think about that, considering how utility heavy terrain, and in general the meta game is so incredibly utility heavy these days. Molotovs and etc. just seem to be an absolute must on either side, that the UMP really does reign supreme. And I'm not quite sure whether I like the purchase of the M4, or for that matter the AUG. Laffy though going down very early on. See, but finds Def, so brings it back to a 4 versus 4. That Deagle coming into play now where it couldn't in the pistol run. Android finds a shot, pre-firing it at C, but just walks into that. And JChance, he's been buying this AUG, but it's not really been working out great for him so far. That's why I do think that maybe just sticking towards that maybe just sticking towards a UMP where you can be using the jumping. Daisy was not even walking there. Shonk doesn't turn around. I'm 99% sure that Daisy was not walking there. Shonk, surprisingly enough, not turning around towards the sound. Slightly questionable play coming out from him. And once again, Tropical will be forced to try and save up. Will probably be successful in doing so. Complexity really doesn't seem to be too bothered with actually stopping him. Android is holding the angle, might be able to bring him down right now. He's revealed his position. That was probably a bit of a mistake. The smoke goes through to try and block them off. But right now, again, Tropical. He will be able to save this gun, but to what avail? Complexity have won 9 rounds in a row. And again, going for the M4 on Shonk. Well, I'm not going to criticize it anymore because my viewpoints are very evidently clear on that. J Chance bought up a Mag 7 and has an M4 drop from him back in base, so will be forced to sacrifice the utility regardless of that. Some miscommunication coming out, and it is the little things that do end up mattering. Slemmy trying to fire through the smoke, almost getting Tropical's head off, but Tropical, for once in his life, is able to get away safely. 1:20 left, and Laffy's been fully flashed out. They need to push out through A main. And that's where the crossfire is somewhat ready. Tropical, though, he might be blocked off by a smoke coming through his way very soon, forcing him to get into a position which is going to be very hard to get back from. Retreating from there would really be relying on Laffy being able to hit those shots with the M4, and considering how lackluster his aim has been so far, I really wouldn't be surprised if they're not quite able to rely on that. Now J Chance, he's going to be having all the aggression on him. The flashbang going through, not quite yet, goes through now, but the Molotov will be blocking off his spot, can't quite push through that. Daisy still safely behind the smoke, and 40 seconds left on the clock. Complexity needs to hurry things up. Tropical finds one, but Def and Cyril are finding 2 more of them off their own. Jonk and J Chance are the last few left on the CT side. J Chance is going to be having Slemmy over towards him very, very soon. Turns around at the wrong time, and it leaves Jonk alone in a 1v3. AK in hand, but Molotov in way. And that will be all she wrote. Yeah, Gambit is tier 1, dude. Like, maybe not tier 1, but Gambit is definitely tier 1.5, at least. Although I do think that Crowns and Playing Ducks are tier 3, not tier 2. Then again, I don't remember which one. I've casted them playing, I don't remember exactly which ones those are, but back towards the game itself. And repeatedly, it really does seem like Sippintea are mostly just missing out on their fundamentals, if nothing else. They're not properly holding up their crossfires, they're not properly utilizing their utility, and more than anything else that is painful to watch, they're not really able to get their aim on point. Everything they were doing right after their pistol round win, they seem to be doing wrong right now. But after their first 3 pistol round wins, pistol round based wins, J Chance will be naded down significantly. 46 HP left on him. Not going to be too happy about that, but Complexity, having revealed quite a few of their players' positions, does bait J Chance and Chonk out. But Def will be able to use that perfectly fine with it. As C-But goes down elsewhere, Laffy finds Android. And it is still a 4 versus 2. Almost entirely impossible for Sippintea to be able to bring it back. But if Tropical can hit a few great deagle shots, this could be big. And as I say that, there goes all hope. Because Laffy will be brought down by Daisy. 11-3 and Complexity. I talked about how Tees can be perfectly happy with 7 rounds, but really any side would be happy on any map with 11 or 12 rounds. In the meanwhile, though, J Chance finally connecting. The double op setup comes through once again, but Laffy is feeling so underconfident that he gives it over towards Shonk, and perhaps that was the good decision to make, because suddenly they've got the early on advantage. What with Tropical pushing forward very aggressively through towards Electric Box. A man has rushed through the smoke. That's Android who gets taken down immediately, and Slemmy, last man left standing. Such a breath of fresh air as they're able to bring themselves back on towards 4 rounds on the CT side, but is this a case of too little too late? I love the discussion going on in chat, and I say discussion in a very... I'm using the word discussion very generously, let's put it that way. The pistol round will be absolutely necessary for Sippintea to be able to win. And I have to say, I don't quite like this setup very much. They aren't going for any players with utility. Tropical, who went for the deagle, gets taken down immediately without getting a single shot through with it. And again, with the numbers advantage going the way of complexity, I can't really give Sippintea too much of a chance. But if J-Chance is able to do that, then perhaps they still have some hope. They're backing themselves off and really hoping that complexity will overextend and walk in towards their crosshair, but without any smokes, without any flashbangs, going over towards that A side will be very difficult. But Laffy, he's found his way through. He threaded the needle, but the needle will be going into his head as Surreal drives it in, injecting his bullet through, but needs to find a few more shots over here. Pushing through, trying to get behind them over towards the A main side. Surreal will be able to go for the flank very soon after. J-Chance with the deagle that was dropped down earlier on. Shonk will be the last man to go down, and Complexity are able to bring the round back in their favor. Despite a few quick kills going the way of the terrorist side, courtesy of Shonk. And now, Sippintea, they're going for the same sort of buy that Complexity did earlier on as well. But Android is more than ready for this with the MP9. He's looking to mow down some head, and Laffy's will be the first one to go down. J-Chance has found Def pushing through aggressively in the backline through Ivy like a speed demon. But the speed demon will be sent back to hell along with Shonk to give him some company. Sippintea has one man left standing with a very nice skin and a dream which will not be, well, which will not be realized, let's just put it that way. 13-4, and Sippintea might just need to force buy once again. They may choose not to do so and go for some utility instead, try and get the plant down over towards that A site. Wouldn't be surprised to try and see them go for a fake with 4 people over towards A side, the bomb going over towards B, but without any smokes, without any utility. The likelihood of that happening and succeeding is incredibly low, and they realize that too. That's why they're just backing themselves off. But look at this, see, but he's pushed through very quickly, very aggressively. He has found his way in, but his way will be blocked by Android, who shoots him down along with Laffy. Daisy as well, pushing through, UMP in hand, running around. The run and gun not really working out great for him, though. Can't say the same about Def as he brings down Shonk. J-Chance, last man left standing as always, it seems like, with the P250 in his hands, and the Crimson Kimono will be red with his blood. And Sippintea, this might even be where, if you lose this round, that's where you have to sit down and start thinking about the next map, really.